So let's take a look at some of the places that we use barcodes in the Volanté system. So generally people think we're going to use barcodes for our items to scan at our POS, and that's absolutely true. But we do have some other places that barcodes can come in handy throughout the day. So let's take a look at menu as a starting point. And of course, we can add in items as we usually do through our division groups and categories and creating our different items within here. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and create a quick item here and we'll put a barcode in on it as well. So I'm going to go ahead, add the menu item. We'll put in some dual pineapple, make a price on it. And we've got some taxes, printers if we want to ever direct it, and allowable discount groups and types. I'm going to go down to our miscellaneous section where we have our scan codes down here. And we can right click and add a new scan code. So there's a couple ways we can get a scan code in for our product. We can type it in by hand. It's going to be the full 12-digit code in this case on the item. So it'll be the 5 digits under the bars, followed by the other 5-digit under the bars, leading number to the far side and leading number to the far right side as well. So we can also enter the number by scanning it if we have a barcode scanner plugged into our computer. If we do that, however, generally our barcode scanners are set up with a leading and trailing symbol. So if we want to edit those out, we can double click on the field, remove those symbols and hit enter. So we always hit enter when we're modifying a field. So I'll go ahead and save this item. We've created this pineapple. We should be able to scan this at the POS after a data sync. Another thing we can do is create ourselves some custom scan codes for items that may be an in-house sale item. So something like a salad or a sandwich that we're making in-house and we want to print our own sticker labels for. I'll go ahead and add in an item here as well. So let's make a sandwich. Okay, we're going to use one of the sandwiches we already have created. Let's use the egg salad sandwich or our grilled cheese. So with the grilled cheese sandwich, I'm going to create our own customizable scan codes. It is a very similar process. I'll right click in the scan code section under miscellaneous, but instead I'm going to choose to generate a UPC code. What this is doing is creating a barcode using my store number followed by random generated barcode information here. I do have to save this first. So I've created myself a custom scan code and now I'm going to select my scan code. And I'm going to select a format. So while a number of different UPC formats do work, we have built out a layout that does fit correctly onto the Avery sticker sheet 5160. These are readily available from Amazon and are a good choice for creating sticker sheets, as creating the layouts within the label properties file in the back office is a bit of a challenge. So definitely try to use this format. Next, I'll print scan code labels. I'm going to say print to this page. And as we can see, it's going to create me a sticker sheet page. Now I do have grid lines turned on for testing purposes, but as we can see, here's our item name, our item price, and that scannable barcode is now available for us. So I'm going to move this off into another window and we're going to continue on. So I've added this and we'll see what this scans up like at our POS later on as well, using that barcode I just generated. Okay, so we're going to close out of that. So this is the first place, of course, that we're going to think about barcodes. Another thing we can do is set up our users and securities to scan in a cashier or POS admin cashier using a barcode. So I have set up a testing barcode user in here. In the field that we have for card swipe in here, we can enter a number. So using a barcode generating website online, there are a number of free options available. We can generate a barcode using either UPCE, UPCA, EAN format, or two-dimensional, so like a QR style code. And these are codes that can be put onto an employee's card to allow them to scan in at the POS. So there is a way of using that. I'll show you what this looks like when we get to that section as well. Okay, so another place that we can use barcodes is in our customer database. Very similar to what we just talked about when it comes to creating our own scan codes using an online scan code generator. Today we'll take a look at Tom's profile. So using the number that we find here in our card code field, we can create a scannable barcode using this card code number and scanning that in to put a customer into the transaction. So this is an option if the site does not have an RFID reader, MSR card swipes and things like that. They could potentially create their own custom barcodes and print them out and do their own lamination and such. So we'll take a look at what that looks like as well. So this number will be the one scanned in using another code. One final place we'll take a look at is using our general setup, payment discount settings, and price modifiers. In our price modifier section, we do have the ability to create barcodes for our price mods, vouchers, and other uses. This is most often used for single-use PAU vouchers that are created using a PAU process for some of our customers. This creates single-use barcodes. However, if a site would like to use multiple-use barcodes, that can be done as well. So let's take a look at this $5 voucher card. I'm going to go over to our barcode configuration for it and we'll do an edit. We can see that there's a barcode here that is set up already for it using this big long number. It's going to be a $5 voucher. Because this is set up to be a repetitive voucher, there's no limit, there's no limited use enabled. We can basically use this code over and over and over again. So think of getting a sheet of coupons in the mail that allow you to get a certain dollar value off. They've printed that same sheet thousands of times and mailed it out to everyone with the same code on it for a discount. So generally at this point, the cashier would take the coupon away from the customer when it's used. Another setup for our type of barcode scanning would be a PAU voucher. So some of these can be set up for single use only. And we end up doing that by, let's edit this one here. We can see that it's set for enabling of limited use. And there's a number of other settings that do go in setting up PAU vouchers. So if you'd like to do this, please do explore this on our Confluence and take a look at how this gets set up. So in this case, I'm going to generate 200 barcodes. I can set the maximum use per code to anything over 1 if I like. Absolutely. And then I can also allow to not repeat any previous codes used and generate myself a list of barcodes. And again, these go into other systems that we use in order to generate a barcode list. So for our example today, though, we will use our $5 voucher so we can see what that looks like coming off of one of our transactions. Okay, so let's continue through. We'll take a look at how some of this reflects in the POS and we'll go from there. So some of the examples we talked about first off were putting a cashier into a transaction. We're going to put a customer into a transaction with a barcode. We're going to use a barcode to enter some of our items when we're in our transaction, the ones we just created, as well as making a payment method discount using a voucher. So first off, I'll go ahead and choose cashier mode. And instead of swiping a card at this point, I could scan in a user ID. And again, it's prompting me to clock in. So let's go through that quick process first. I'll go to my user screen, scan my number, and go ahead and clock in. And again, we can see that's our barcode testing account we were looking at previously. Okay, I'm going to go to cashier mode, scan that in, and continue on with our transaction. So the next thing we'd wanted to do was add in our user into a transaction, one of our customers from our customer database. So when I scan up this barcode, it should bring Tom into our transaction. Okay, and it does. So we can see that we have Tom in our transaction now. So I'm going to go ahead and just continue on scanning some of our barcoded items. Now, one piece that we do need to remember to do is to do our data sync. So behind the scenes, the data sync has been going on. So we'll have a look at some of those scannable items. Let's go ahead and scan in some of the items that we've created. So we created the pineapple earlier. Scanning that in at the POS now gives us pineapple. And we created our own custom scannable barcodes for grilled cheese. And grilled cheese does have options associated to it, but we can see that it does bring up our grilled cheese sandwich. And if you want to pay for this, I'm going to go ahead and just choose our total key at this point. And I'm going to scan in our voucher that we saw was created for a $5 voucher. So we'll scan that in. And we can see that a $5 voucher was applied. So again, there's a number of different ways we can concurrently use barcodes at our POS. We'll cash out the remainder. And one other feature we can use at the POS, as long as the barcode scanning modules are correctly enabled and licensed in the back office, we can add a barcode in within the admin screen. Now, we can't create any items from this screen. However, it's a quick way of adding in a number of barcodes for existing items if the customer doesn't have a separate barcode scanner in the back. I'm going to go ahead and choose the item, assign menu item barcode here, and I can search for an item. So I'm going to go ahead and search for mustard here. It's always going to say nothing found. We'll say yes, and it has found an item that I had in my barcoded item list that does not have an item barcode assigned to it. And I'm going to click on it. So it's highlighted, and I'm going to scan the code as found on the product. And it will tell you that the mustard has been successfully updated. We can see this messaging has appeared. Now this item will be updated with that barcode. So I'm going to go ahead and choose to exit, and we can see how that item will now work when we go onto the cashier screen. And now I can scan that item at any time. It will sync with the back office and sync down to other terminals through our standard data sync process, but it is a way of adding barcodes quickly for a number of items that may or may not have had barcodes added originally.